Hello, let's learn ook and how to use it in Dutch. What does ook mean in English? Well, ook can mean three things. It can have three different meanings. Also, to, and as well. These are the three main translations for ook. Let's see a few examples. Dat is ook goed. Ja, ik ook. Hij heeft dat ook gedaan. So the first one is dat is ook goed. That's also good. So you see there that also is translated as ook. The second one is ja, ik ook. Yes, me too. So me too would be two there. Ook can be used for two, but not with adjectives. For example, if you're saying, this thing is too big, then you're not going to use ook, then you're going to use te. But that's not ook. All right, and as well, hij heeft dat ook gedaan. He has done it as well. So, great news, right? Three separate words for just one word in Dutch. Good news, right? Well, it gets a little bit more complicated because sometimes you think, here I can use ook, but you can't. For example, with the too, like this is too difficult. Dat is te moeilijk. And also with wel. Sometimes students make mistakes. As well, they would think, well, we also use it in Dutch. No. Well, you can only use for in between sentences. For example, well, that's interesting. Wel, dat is interessant. Then you can use wel with one L. There are no wells with two L's in Dutch. And as an opposing statement. For example, je hebt jouw huiswerk niet gedaan. Ik heb wel mijn huiswerk gedaan. You haven't done your homework. I did make my homework, or I did do my homework. So that's to strengthen your reply. I did it. You're lying. So there you could also use wel, but not as in as well. All right, so pay attention to that as well. Ook, not wel. All right, and the second thing English-speaking students struggle with is the position in the sentence. Let's take three examples in English to illustrate why it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. For example, also, I work on Saturdays. I also work on Saturdays. And I have to work on Saturdays as well. So you see the also or the as well is in three different spots. First, it's at the beginning of the sentence, then it's in between, and then it's at the end of the sentence. And these three times, if you would literally translate it, if you would literally copy the structure of the sentence, you would be wrong, like dead wrong, when you're using ook. And why? Well, let's see it. Let's take the first example. Also, I work on Saturdays. If you can translate also as besides, by the way, then you cannot translate it as ook. And that's why some people start their sentence with ook, but you cannot, because it means besides. And what can you say then? You can simply say en. En ik werk op zaterdagen. Instead of ook. So, besides, like also, not ook. So do not use it in the beginning of the sentence. So the next example, the second example, I also work on Saturdays. Then you would instinctively think, ik ook werk op zaterdagen. And there, it doesn't sound right. So it is ik werk ook op zaterdagen. So mind that in between the subject and the verb of the sentence, we rarely put something in Dutch. For example, another example, I always work on Saturdays. Ik altijd werk op zaterdag. No, ik werk altijd op zaterdagen. So avoid this as much as possible. And the last one, I have to work on Saturdays as well. You would think, well, I'm going to put the ook there at the end of the sentence behind the second verb. But in Dutch, when you have two verbs, for example, in the past tense, in the perfecto, or with a modal verb in this case, then you're going to put the verb at the end. And some students, they think, I can still put the ook there as well at the end. But no, you have to say, ik moet ook op zaterdagen werken, or ik moet op zaterdagen ook werken. But the verb there belongs at the end. All right, this question was asked by Zonia Karina. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. So if you have any other question about Dutch, you might see a video about your question. So, tot ziens.